Greetings, Earthlings. How's it going? It is the first day of February. Happy February, everyone. We all made it through the first month of the year, at least for those of you that are watching. Condolences, of course, go out to those who did not make it through January 2018. It's been a crazy year so far, and well, the craziness just keeps on continuing. Well, I say continuing, but it's really just some in this case, a fallout from what happened a few years ago. I wanted to talk about this just really crazy, really sad story um, that many of you have probably heard about already. Slenderman stabbing, a Wisconsin girl sentenced to 40 years in a mental hospital. So this is from The Guardian, says the judge grants maximum penalty sought by prosecutors in case of Morgan Geyser, who was 12 when she attacked a classmate. And I mean, just reading this story is just pretty crazy. So it says a Wisconsin girl who stabbed a classmate to curry favor with a fictional horror character, Slenderman, will be committed to a mental hospital for 40 years, a judge ordered Thursday, explaining his decision as an issue of community protection. So I just, went to a bunch of different news sources. I wanted to see what this is all about. I wanted to just play a couple of videos real quick just to kind of, shed some light on what this is all about. So they're saying so Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weir, both 12, told police that they had stabbed their friend Peyton Lardner to please Slenderman. Geyser is to be sentenced February 1st for the stabbing. She faces up to 40 years in a men's health institution. On December 21st, Anissa Weir was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health facility. And so then it goes into talking about who Slenderman is. And I know that there's a movie coming out soon, but it's just really creepy. Like, it's a fictional character born out of a Photoshop challenge in 2009. I'm getting the creeps just looking at it. I think children have a very dual idea of what Slenderman can be. He can either be this ruthless killer, or he can be choose to be special as children. And so this is what is, going to be in the latest movie. Again, hopefully this doesn't trigger anybody, but it just gives me the creeps. According to defense attorneys and psychologists, Geyser and Weir thought Slenderman would kill them or their families if they didn't attack Lutner. This is just ridiculous. This was a real being to this child, and she needed to protect those around her. At 12 years old, she had no way to protect herself from Slenderman. So yeah, this is just really sad, because it's like these children are on the internet, they're seeing these crazy things, and kids are very impressionable. They are ridiculously impressionable. My 2-year-old, about to be 3-year-old, was watching Mother Goose Club today, and she saw this kid put a blanket over his head and say, "I'm gonna act like I'm a monster and scare my friends." And she got scared, like, and I had to, sit down with her and say, "Look, it's just a boy under, a sheet, and look, he's not scary." I had to help her to play along with this, but I mean, my goodness. So, I want to see what this video is about real quick. See if there's any. Let me throw the sound on this bad boy real quick. Just give me a few minutes. Of course, I can't find the sound. There we go. All right, lights off. All right, we're back. I didn't go anywhere, so let's see. So this is a quick 1 minute, 1.5 minute video, if it buffers.
It was there when you stabbed her.
Kill her. I might as well just say it. We were trying to kill her.
The interrogation is very difficult to watch because that's not my daughter saying those things. That's not the way that she speaks. That's not the way that she acts.
It was like looking at a different child?
Yes.
Do you know what happened to Bella?
What happened to Bella? Is Bella your friend?
She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
Stabbed? I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
I don't know. Do you want to stay in the hospital?
I was just wondering.
she appears to have no remorse for what's happened, and she just talks about it in such a flat manner.
A matter-of-fact way.
Yes. She doesn't appear to be frightened. I mean, that's odd for a 12-year-old child sitting in a police station with a detective not to be frightened about what's going on.
Could you believe what you were hearing?
No, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No. No, I never would have imagined that my daughter was capable of hurting another person.
Not only was this hurting, it was multiple stabbings with the attempt to kill.
Yes.
So again, really creepy. And then this next ABC News video goes into who is Slenderman. So just to kind of continue along these articles, I'll continue with the ABC one. So Morgan Geyser is age 15 now. She was sentenced to 40 years under a mental health institution supervision. While she may periodically petition for release from the hospital in the future, she will be under institutional supervision for that time. I just want to let Bella and her family know that I'm sorry, Geyser told the court after arguments breaking into tears. I never meant this to happen. I hope that she's doing well. Bella is the nickname Geyser had given the victim, Peyton Leutner, when they were young. There's just a couple of pictures. This is Anissa Weir, who appeared in court back in December. So Geyser and Anissa Weir were arrested May 31st, 2014 after attacking Leutner with a knife and leaving her behind in the Waukesha Woods, that's in Wisconsin. All three girls were 12 years old at the time. Leutner was stabbed 19 times, but able to crawl to a nearby road where a passing bicyclist stopped to help her. Now 15, she survived her life-threatening injuries. They stabbed her, or at least the one girl that's being sentenced to 40 years, stabbed her 19 times. I mean, this is just crazy. Prosecutors have said that both Geyser and Weir were obsessed with Slenderman, a character often depicted in fan fiction online as a horror figure who stalks children. And here's another just ridiculous picture. During the sentencing hearing, both prosecutors and Geyser's attorneys called on mental health professionals who had evaluated Geyser to testify. Psychologist Dr. Brooke Lundbaum and psychiatrist Dr. Kenneth Robbins both testified that Geyser had made progress in her mental health treatment. But Lundbaum, who was court-appointed, testified that Geyser was still hearing voices near the time of her October 2017 evaluation. She had reported that she had last heard on an auditory hallucination that she calls Maggie just a few weeks before our contact, Lundbaum said. Geyser's attorneys also called on Jesse Andrews, the director of forensic services at Winnebago Mental Health Institute, where Geyser now lives. Andrews testified that Geyser does not present with psychotic symptoms at this time. Geyser, according to Andrews, has been held with adults at Winnebago Mental Health Institute because her case was in adult court. She is the youngest patient in her living unit. I would estimate it was August or September 2017 when Geyser's psychotic symptoms were gone, Andrews said. When asked, court-appointed psychologist Dr. Kent Burney concurred with the report. He submitted that he believed Geyser is appropriate for consideration for a less restrictive setting than inpatient psychiatric care, and that residential treatment would be optimal. So obviously they're trying to, say that she's not really that crazy, or at least she's not crazy anymore, but that she still needs to be in some sort of mental institution. I mean, for any kid this young to not only say that they are hearing voices, but to actually act on them, there's definitely a problem there. And unless they're actually actively trying to help her get rid of these voices or these issues, then they need to seriously make sure that they're taking everything into consideration, and not trying to be light on her because she committed a crime at 12 and now she's 15 and she's still not an adult yet. I mean, it doesn't matter. The brain is the brain. And if someone needs help, they need help, and they need all the help that they can get before they, progress in age and can do even further harm to themselves and to others. So prosecutors asked for the maximum sentence of 40 years under institutional supervision, while Geyser's attorneys asked for a length of time similar to Weir's sentence. Now, Weir was not the person who stabbed the girl. Weir, as we'll see here, in December 2017, Weir, now 16, was sentenced to 25 years under a mental health institution supervision after a jury found her not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect after she had pleaded guilty to second-degree attempted intentional homicide, party to a crime. So again, she was party to the crime. She was the one that was pretty much um, telling Geyser that, she should, kill this girl. So Geyser pleaded guilty last year to attempted first-degree intentional homicide, party to a crime. However, she agreed to a plea deal with prosecutors in which the court also found her not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect, despite her guilty plea. So let's see what else this says. Please take into consideration everything my daughter and family has endured when deciding your sentence for Morgan. Joseph Leutner, who's Peyton Leutner's father, wrote in a victim impact statement to Judge Michael Boren ahead of Geyser's sentencing. Peyton should not have to spend the remainder of her youth with her curtains closed, looking over her shoulder every day and praying that they will not come after her again. Now, I doubt that these same girls are going to come after her. Even so, they had better get some sort of restraining order against these girls. Joseph Leutner wrote in his statement that the incident took away many of the things his family once enjoyed doing together. And of course it would. I mean, when you're stabbed 19 times, I can't see how any kid can even, live a normal life after that. One, to be taken into a forest alone, and then I just cannot imagine what this poor child endured, seeing who I would assume were her friends stab her mercilessly, because they had to seem like psychopaths. Just I can't even imagine that. My family used to spend a lot of time together, taking road trips to hike different areas, camp, or just take our pup to the dog park, he wrote. They have all become a distant memory for us because Peyton refuses to go back in the woods, and sleeping there is completely out of the question. So again, just completely devastating, completely, absolutely devastating. In the statement, Joseph Leutner also wrote about the hours and days after his daughter was stabbed. Daily care was an immense process as she healed because she could not bend or stand up on her own, he wrote. She spent many nights sleeping next to her mother, Stacy, so she would not have to be alone while I slept in her bed. Between follow-up visits to the doctor, court dates, and emotional care, we have not had a chance to find a new normal. But here we are, for better or worse, we are together. Stacey Leutner also wrote a victim's impact statement that was given to the judge before we were sentencing. In it, she wrote that her family accepted the plea deals for both Weir and Geyser to keep her daughter from testifying. Traumatizing her further didn't seem worth it. Stacey Leutner wrote, Peyton has never talked about her attack, so asking her to testify and relive her experience in front of a courtroom of strangers felt cruel and unnecessary. And to that, I say, I hope that they also get Peyton some psychiatric help as well, or continue to do it. I know that the father said that, they're seeing, getting emotional care and things like that. But gosh, I don't know how you overcome that. I don't know how, one, she's so strong for just surviving, but two, just getting over the mental and psychological effects of that. I can't have friends. I mean, you talk about snakes. That's like the epitome of snakes. Your friends take you into a forest and stab you and leave you for dead, and you have to crawl. You have to crawl your way out of the forest. You probably don't know which way you're going. Oh my goodness. Morgan Geyser's mother, Angie, told 2020 she often thinks about Peyton Leutner and her family. I mean, for the mother, I feel like this woman owes that family like everything, pretty much. Everything. So she said, I'm sorry for what Peyton went through and for what they must have gone through, and I would take it back if I could, Angie Geyser said. I hope that they can understand that it wasn't the Morgan that they knew who did this to their daughter, that Morgan was sick, she wasn't in control of her brain, and I hope that maybe someday they can forgive her. When you send your child to another family's home, you trust that family to keep your child safe while she's there, Angie Geyser said, and I'm sorry that we didn't. And that's how the article ends. And to that I say, this mother, this woman that we're seeing right now on the screen, I mean, she should be held and somewhat responsible for that, whether it be reckless endangerment or something. The parents here, Angie Geyser, needs to be held responsible in some way, because she, I guess, was in charge of the girl Peyton being over at her house. She was in charge of her well-being, And to that I say, and this just all just raises red flags for me, because my girls, again, they're both under 3, and I'm just like, yeah, they aren't watching anything that looks ridiculous. They're not going to have, their own computers, their own phones, anything like that, because this world is just so crazy. It's so crazy, and everything is so accessible these days. All you need is an iPhone with an internet connection, and these days you don't even need an internet connection. Someone can just come up to you with their phone and show you stuff on it, and bam, it's in your mind. And and that's how these kids are getting screwed up. Yeah, this girl might not have had any mental issues until she saw this thing, and that's all it takes is the one wrong image for these things to grip anybody. Children, teens, young adults. I mean, this stuff is just so wicked and just so disturbing. You've really just got to guard your gates with some of this stuff. And so, with that, I've reached my 15-minute mark, but I wanted to switch gears and talk about our good friend here, Logan Paul. Apparently, so he's in the news recently because he basically said, and this just kind of ties right into what I'm talking about. He basically said that a lot of what is happening, a lot of the backlash happened for a reason, and he basically flat out blames parents, in saying that they need to watch what their children are watching. So I pulled up this interview, Michael Strahan, Good Morning America, his first interview. So I'm just going to play some of this and kind of see what they have to say, so you can listen along with me.
It's forced.
The idea was to just do another fun vlog, go camp for a night, and make an entertaining piece of content in a forest. And things obviously changed pretty drastically and quickly.
The group came across an actual suicide victim.
So it was 100 yards away from the parking lot. It doesn't make any sense. The right way about suicide prevention.
You go and you film it. Was there a point when you said...
The idea was to shock and...
About content like that, do you realize the age of your audience?
It's odd because, Michael, I'm 22 years old. It's not like I'm making content necessarily for kids. Sometimes I cuss. Sometimes I make inappropriate jokes. I want to make jokes that kids my age are going to like. I'm my own demographic. Now, I will say I'm much more aware of the impact that my actions have on myself and others.
For parents out there, because you're the father of 13-year-old twin girls, it's very hard to know everything that your kids watch.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of parents. Who are saying, you know what? I heard about Logan Paul. I didn't really know who he was until this happened. Who are really going to monitor their kids now. What would you like to say to them?
I'm going to be honest with you, Michael. I think parents should be monitoring what their children are watching more. Every parent I meet whose kids are under the age of like 12, I go, hey, you let your kids watch my stuff? And they go, yeah, what am I going to do? But at the same time, it's not like I'm a bad guy. I am a good...
So this makes me seem like... I don't even know what to say about this. He says that parents tell him, yeah, what am I going to do? They watch your stuff. Parents, human beings, family. No, that can't be the answer. Oh, I don't know what to do cannot be the answer. We gotta come together. We gotta fight this. We gotta fight this because there are way too many kids out there that are seeing the things on the internet. They're seeing these stupid challenges. They're seeing these, movie clips and these images of just everything under the sun online. And our response is, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I can't do anything about it. That can't be our response. We've got to do better. That's sad. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I wanted to just hear what Logan Paul said, but he's right. He's absolutely right. Because here you have a platform. This isn't like, network TV. And even network TV, I mean, sometimes people, it doesn't matter. They'll let the kids watch whatever. and they put the ratings up on network TV. They put the ratings on video games. You know, M for mature. They'll put Y7 up to MA for TV shows. You know, you have the Motion Picture Association ratings, rated R, rated PG-13. All those things that are supposed to be helpful for parents to know what to show their children, and it just seems like we're just ignoring it. And then you have YouTube, that doesn't even put ratings. I mean, it would be nice if somehow YouTube came up with some sort of a rating system. Maybe that's something they need to work on, is to put ratings together for what, you know, is suitable for certain ages or whatnot. But for the thousands of videos, millions of videos that are probably being created every hour, I can't even imagine how you would even begin that process. But maybe you start with some of your big players like Logan Paul. But it doesn't seem like it even matters. It does not seem like it matters, and it doesn't seem like anyone really wants to do anything about it, until something like this happens, where you get a teen that gets stabbed 19 times. And even then, the issue is focused on the child's mental well-being. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But it's also interesting that, you know, if a gun were involved, the first thing we would say is it was the gun's fault, or we need gun control. But with a stabbing with some 12-year-olds, now it's a mental issue. It's always a mental issue. But it's, what are we exposing ourselves to? What are we exposing ourselves to, and what are we going to do so that we're not exposing ourselves to it anymore? Because people are going to create crap. They're going to create content that is scary, that is over-sexualized, that is just everything that we don't need to see. But how are we going to put up our blinders so that we don't have to pay attention to it? That's all I got for today. Let me know your thoughts on this whole Slenderman stabbing thing, the mental issues, and then, of course, on Logan Paul, you know, basically saying, look, parents, watch what your kids are watching. Watch what your kids see. Watch who your kids hang out with. Watch your kids. Watch your kids, people. It's that simple. That's all I got. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Same time, same place, right here in the dungeon, 9:30 every day. That's what I'm aiming to do for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm glad you all decided to join me tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care. Bye.